Hi, everyone. I'm Zed Riley, and you're listening to Code Planet Talks. Here, we explore how families, educators, and technology can come together to shape tomorrow's learners. Today's episode is especially for parents, particularly those raising children in their early school years across Australia. Let me start with a simple but powerful question. What if the moments your child spends after school are just as important as what they learn inside the classroom? Because when the bell rings at 3 o'clock, the learning doesn't stop. In fact, for many children, that's when some of the most meaningful development begins. Whether it's soccer or swimming, piano or painting, coding or cricket, after-school activities aren't just convenient ways to pass the time. They help shape identity, build resilience, and uncover passions that could last a lifetime. A quick request before we begin. Before we dive in, a heartfelt request. Each episode of Code Planet Talks takes hours of research, writing, and production, all to support families like yours. Yet only around 10% of our listeners take a moment to like, follow, or share. If you find today's episode valuable, please consider supporting us. Click subscribe if you're listening on YouTube, click follow if you're tuning in on Facebook, and most importantly, share this podcast with friends or fellow parents who might benefit from it. Your support helps us keep going and growing. Back to the topic now. Real-life impact, Zeke's story. Let's begin with a real-life example, one that hits close to home. Zeke, not his real name, showed a strong interest in computers and technology from an early age. By grade 3, he was already exploring Scratch, designing simple games. By grade 6, he'd moved on to web development, dabbling in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. In high school, he picked up Python and data analysis, dove into 2D and 3D game design, explored mobile app development, and even graphic design. At school, he consistently chose tech-based electives, video editing, coding, and digital media. Not only did this reinforce his skills, but it meant that by year 12, he was breezing through his IT-related subjects. That left him with more time and energy to focus on English, maths, and science, ultimately securing strong grades across the board. After-school activities didn't just give Zeke a hobby. They gave him a sense of direction in life. This is what the right after-school activity can do. It doesn't just entertain. It illuminates purpose. What's out there? Understanding the options. In Australian public and private schools, a rich menu of after-school opportunities is available. Team sports, AFL, soccer, cricket, basketball. Individual sports, swimming, martial arts, athletics. Creative pursuits, drama, painting, dance, music. STEM and technology, coding clubs, robotics, makerspaces. These programs are often free or low cost through schools, and even more options exist through community centers, local studios, and clubs. You'll find everything from ukulele lessons to esports leagues. Government support to make it affordable. Now let's talk dollars, because cost can be a barrier for many families. In South Australia, for example, families with children from reception to year 9 can claim 2 $100 sports vouchers per year. These can be used for activities like local sports teams, dance and music classes, swimming lessons, scouts or guides. This kind of support ensures that enriching experiences aren't just for those who can afford them, they're for everyone. Other states, New South Wales, Victoria, and Queensland, also have similar funding programs. Just check your local government's website for eligibility. When's the right time to start? If you're wondering when to start, the answer is early. Primary school is the golden window. At this age, children are naturally curious and eager to try new things. Starting young builds confidence, routine, and a wider skill base. By the time students hit year 9 or 10, many are focused on fewer interests, and school pressures ramp up. While it's never too late to begin, early exposure creates momentum that's hard to match later. Striking the right balance. Here's where many parents get stuck. How much is too much? It's tempting to fill every weekday with back-to-back activities, but too much structure can lead to burnout, anxiety, or loss of interest. On the other hand, too little may miss the opportunity to build important life skills. A Macquarie University study recommends a balanced 2 to 3 structured activities per week. That's the sweet spot, enough to engage but not overwhelm. The best mix? Combine physical and mental activities like soccer with coding or drama with robotics. This can help improve physical health, build time management, and foster emotional resilience. Remember, it's not about filling the calendar, it's about sparking joy and purpose. How do you choose wisely? Here's a quick guide for choosing what's right for your child. Listen to your child. What excites them when they're left alone? That's where their true interest lies. Think diversity. Balance physical, creative, and cognitive activities. Focus on depth. One activity done with heart beats 5 done in haste. Check the vibe. Observe a session, chat with the instructors, and always check how your child feels after attending. Also, beware the comparison trap. Your child doesn't need to match the neighbor's gifted prodigy timeline. Their path is their own, and that's more than okay. Final reflections. After-school activities are not just extracurricular. They're extraordinary opportunities for growth, self-discovery, and joy. They can't replace the classroom, but they can complement it in powerful, lasting ways. So, encourage your child to explore. Allow them to try, fail, succeed, and try again. Because the right activity won't just fill their time, it will light their fire. And that, parents, is the real magic. Thanks for joining me today on Code Planet Talks. If this episode brought you clarity, encouragement, or even a spark of inspiration, please consider subscribing and share it with another parent. Next week, we're talking about how to help your child choose the right senior school subjects, balancing interests, strengths, and future opportunities. Until next time, I'm Zed Riley. Bye for today, and stay inspired.